Do you struggle with really tight hips, or do you know someone who's constantly complaining that their hip flexors are tight? If this is you, or if you know someone, make sure you watch this video to the end or tag them in the comments below, because I'm going to take you through some drills that can really help release tight hips. So what I'm talking about is, you know those people that complain of all that tightness through the front of the hip, sometimes on the inside of the thigh, and for some people it wraps all the way around through to the back of the hip. They often complain of clicking or clunking that happens through the hip, and often the tightness just gets worse and worse. So people who play team sports or runners are typical for complaining of this type of tightness and pain, and it just builds up and gets worse the more training that you do. So I'm going to teach you some exercises that you can do, some stretches to help release some of the tightness through your hips. So I'm breaking this up into 3 videos. Today's video, we're going to focus on hip flexors. So hip flexors are the muscles all at the front of the hip that help bend your knee up towards your chest. So I'm going to teach you some stretches right now. You can follow along at home to be able to release off your hip flexors yourself at home. So if you've got a mat, make sure you roll it out now. I'm going to take you through just quite a basic hip flexor stretch. So to begin with, bring one knee forwards and in front. Tuck the buttocks under. Now if it's stretching already through the hip there, you may need to just hold this position. If you can't feel any stretch at all with that buttock tuck, then you can shift the hips forwards a small way. For most people though, only a small shift is necessary and you can already feel a stretching sensation through the front of the hip. Hold all of your stretches for about 5 deep breaths. Each time you breathe out, you're trying to tuck that pelvis under or shift forwards just a little bit more, aiming to release through the front of the hip here. So you're going to hold this 5 breaths. Once you're done with that, then we're going to move into a further stretch. So you're going to shift forwards. You're going to bring one hand to the outside of the mat, one hand inside of that front foot, and just hold. So in this position, I'm squeezing my outside knee in towards my shoulder, and I'm lunging the hips forwards and down towards the mat. All right, so this is going to feel like a bit more of a stretch, aiming to lengthen through your spine as much as you can, so keep diving your chest forwards. And again, each time you're breathing out, seeing if you can go into a little bit further. Now, if you're reasonably flexible, you can even come down to your elbows in this position if on your hands is not enough. But just go to where you feel a stretch and hold. Focus on trying to relax through the front of the hip as much as you can. All right. Last drill for your hip flexors. From here, you're going to come down with the outside hand onto your elbow. Rotate your chest towards your knee. Push your knee out to the side and look over the back shoulder. Holding here, again, 5 deep breaths. See if you can rotate that chest up and out. Holding here, and then slowly release. All right? From here, repeating on the other side. So, opposite knee comes out in front. From here, tuck the buttocks under. If that's stretching there, just hold. Otherwise, bring it forwards just a little bit more. 5 deep breaths here. Making sure that you can feel that nice stretch in through the front of the hip and that it's not hurting anywhere. From here, outside hand comes to the outside of the mat. Inside hand comes inside of the front leg. Shift the foot out a little way if you need to. From here, deep breath in, and on your breath out, lunging forwards. Keep this knee squeezing in towards your shoulder. Diving your chest forwards and lengthening through your spine. And see if you can square off those hips. So make sure that this hip on the outside is not shifting out. Keep everything as square as possible. If you need to, remember you can come down onto your elbow at this point. All right. Stretch number 3, elbow comes down onto the mat, on the outside of the mat, hand inside of the knee, rotate the chest up and out as you press into the knee. All right, This is a really good stretch. You'll feel it through your hip flexor, but you'll also feel it through your glute on the opposite side. So again, 5 deep breaths, and then slowly release. Alright, so you can repeat that series a couple of times in the day if you're really struggling with tight hip flexors, or you can just use it as a daily routine, particularly if you're going into any kind of running or sports. Okay? Next week, I'm going to teach you how to release the inside of your hips, which is your adductor muscles. Alright? So until then, make sure you tune in next week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!